Hello. So as y'all know, lately I've been a little bit slower at posting, and in all transparency, it's because I haven't been editing. For one, I have footage that I need to edit from my solo trip last month, and also a couple other things that I've done over the past year or so, but I've been very slow at editing it. Whenever the winter and fall comes around, again, to be totally transparent, for some reason, depression and stuff like that hits me a lot worse at those times. So yeah, I'm just a little bit slower. But to counter that, I've decided to start Kamryn Talks, which is basically this. Not so much a podcast form, more so me just directly talking to a camera. Eventually, I do kind of want to turn that into a podcast. I've went ahead and made the YouTube channel handle. I'm not going to post anything on it for a while. I want to build this channel up over time. So I'm thinking I'll alternate every week or so with Kamryn Talks being on Thursdays, and then the next week a video on Tuesdays, and then next week Thursdays Kamryn Talks. So basically I'll have Kamryn Walks one week, Kamryn Talks another week, so on. That might change over time. It's just something to help me so I can engage with y'all more and just quickly pull out my phone, make a video like this where I'm just talking. This week I wanted to talk about masculinity, femininity, the role it plays in modern day society. Specifically being like, so I'm from Texas, from the South. Right now I live in Mississippi, which is really the South. I mean, Texas is technically more southern on the United States map, but it's really more southern over here. Well, maybe it's just because I lived in the city in Texas. I lived in the Fort Worth, Dallas area, so it was a lot more, middle ground there. But here I am out in the boonies. Man, I gotta go somewhere for work. Let me make this quick. So basically, a lot of people in the South are Christian, identify as Christian, which is cool. I'm like, literally the phone right now, what I'm using to talk to y'all, I'm letting it sit on the Bible. I've been reading the Bible lately. I just finished Genesis. I'm about 5-6 chapters into Exodus right now. I think it's good to read the Bible. I think it's good to follow certain moralities of Christianity. I don't think all of it's amazing. I don't think all of it's bad. I think there's a good middle ground in every religion, really. But a lot of Christians are anti-gay, anti-femininity, like if you're a man, they think if you're a man, you need to be overly masculine. You need to be the type to work on your own car, tend the fields, whatever, that's just kind of a common sentiment growing up in the Christian faith, as I did myself. My dad is very that way, wanted me to be in sports, wanted me to do all this, which kind of created a thing in my head to make me think that I wasn't good enough or whatever. But as I'm reading the Bible, I noticed a story of Jacob and Esau, with which were not Abraham's children, but Isaac's children, Isaac and Rebecca, I believe. In that story, Esau was the manly, hairy one, blah blah blah, and Jacob was the guy, was the son that was in the kitchen with his mom, cooking up, baking things, more in touch with his feminine side. Well, even though Esau was the firstborn, Jacob ended up, like, Esau brought his blessing to God, a sacrifice or whatever, and Jacob brought his. And Esau, he had the more manly, better blessing, as you would imagine. But God found favor in Jacob. It is true that while Esau was out hunting for his game, Jacob deceived himself and put goat skin on his body to appear more manly and hairy and stuff, to deceive Isaac. So as when Isaac touched him, he got a blessing from Isaac to be, the one that received the inheritance or whatever. But Jacob went on his own, and it was in Bethlehem or Bethel, and God came to him and told him that he would be favored and he would be given all this land and be looked after or whatever. And I find that funny as to Jacob being the more one that's in touch with the feminine side. And so it makes me look at today's society and realize, like, yo, people, it doesn't matter if you're more manly or if you're in the kitchen baking or if you paint your nails or if you have calluses and hard working hands. You know, God finds favor and balance in between everyone. I think there's a need for manly men. I think there's a need for men who bake. I think a lot of today's society, you know, the reason why there's a lot of, you know, people rejecting the Christian faith and, you know, being very flamboyant and blah, 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 is because there is no balance from the people that are teaching this Christian faith now today. I was listening to a podcast from 2020 with Kanye and Joe Rogan, and Kanye was talking about how you go to churches a lot nowadays, and the pastor will get up there, he'll open his Bible, read a little bit, and then the next 45 minutes, you realize the pastor's just talking. He's not reading out of his Bible. He's talking his own words. And we're learning from these men who have their own ideologies of what Christianity is. We're not learning from the Bible itself. Now, don't get me wrong, the Bible has some weird shit in it. You know, like incest and sleeping with daughters and all types of weird shit. So I'm not saying everything in the Bible is good, but I am saying that there is good in the Bible and that we need to be reading from the Bible and not from the mouth of man on the steeple preaching. Now, don't get me wrong, God could be speaking through these people at sometimes, but I think people need to hear more of the word, because a lot of people, that's the only time they get the word, is when they go to church. They don't read it at home, which they should be doing. So yeah, I think it's something, as I interpret it myself, femininity is great, masculinity is great. God favors both the exact same. He doesn't look at one as better than the other. That's why Jacob got the blessing and ended up with all of he went to, gosh, it started with a P, I think, and he came back with like 3-4 wives, which that's another weird thing in the Bible, but apparently that's favorable. Then God was favoring him with all these wives and all these donkeys and all these sheep and everything. So God found favor in the feminine, and I just want everyone to know that it's okay to be whoever you are, because it doesn't even have to be Christianity that I'm speaking of here. If you're not Christian, that's cool. I'm not Christian. I'm agnostic, really. But the world, the universe, loves every one of us. And there's a lot of oppression from modern day Christians, and that needs to end. And we need to learn to love every single one of us. Yeah, so I hope that this kind of makes sense. It's a little short talk. I want to do things like this just so I can share things on my mind, share things I'm reading and whatnot. I hope y'all enjoyed it. I'll be back next week with a real video of me exploring. It's going to be Red Bluff, Into the Bluff. As the last video was just us on the surface level, the next one will be Into the Bluff. So we'll be going down, hiking, exploring, etc. I hope y'all enjoyed this. Please like, subscribe, comment if you wanna. Thank you for watching. I hope you have a blessed day.